are back in the Denbigh Castle. Oh my God, coughing already there, not a good start. My breath's been taken away by that 0-0 draw. I am joined by Matt Floss, Dave Downey and Les Roberts. Matt, I will come to you first. Everton were alright there, another 0-0 win for the Toffees, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think many of us expected to walk out of a 0-0 draw against free-scoring Chelsea annoyed that we didn't win. And I kind of was, because we had two massive chances there to put it in the back of the net and we just didn't take it. But the overall game setup from Dyche and the way it was applied by the players was just fantastic. And people might get a bit sniffy saying, oh, I can't be celebrating 0-0 draws, but let's be honest, that's their first blank for them since the start of the season. Like, absolutely fantastic. 2 points in the last week that we weren't meant to get. Can't say further than that. And I don't think anyone played particularly brilliantly, but I don't think anyone played particularly... Well, actually, no, tell a lie. Jordan Pickford played brilliantly. Everyone else was fine. No one played particularly badly. Subs off the bench, all did the bit. Yeah, pretty happy.
Dave's too busy watching Liverpool to pay attention. What do you think of that, Dave? You know, I agree with a lot of Matt said there. I thought Denbigh was our best player today. I think some of the touches and movements and the way in which he got out of tight situations was fantastic. But what did you make of the overall display from the Blues?
It was a hard watch. I mean, I said, and I went a bit too far, I put on my Twitter during the game, this is exactly the same as Leicester on New Year's Day, that infamous woeful game where people fell asleep while we were watching it. It wasn't like that, and obviously I've spoken to you before we did this, a little bit more tempered on what you said about it, and I think you got to appreciate the opponents you've got, really. And Chelsea have been flying, haven't they, recently? The genuine title contenders. And I think by and large we handled them really, really well. They were obviously going to have more possession than us. I felt we were really compact as well. Cole Palmer, who's one of the players of the season, last couple of years, I actually loved watching him. Thought he was nullified for most of that game. The way in which they attacked us, we sat deep, we defended really well against them. In the end, it looked like they ran out of ideas, midfield wise as well. I think like Decore started looking a bit more like himself. Thought Calvert-Lewin as well held the ball up well, and like you say about Denbigh, you've got, when he's utilised like that, you've got a genuine outlet there. It plays a little bit close to Calvert-Lewin. You've got something that can not only get further up the pitch but also turn things around and start attacking. And like I said to you before we started there, he's the ideal player, Denbigh, to get you the foul up the pitch, and just the pressure just eases a bit on everybody else behind him. So you draw that, you draw it against Arsenal. You know, this is.
Don't forget we beat Wolves as well. I think when you look at 5 points from the last 3 with those fixtures, that's above expectations, isn't it?
And Wolves are no mugs because they went and beat Leicester 4-0. So yeah, it is funny the way things work out, isn't it? But what were we talking about 2 weeks ago about this dreaded run of games that we've got? If you give me 2 points against these two sides, unbeaten against them so far, you'd be absolutely delighted. And clean sheets, 5 and 6 games. Again, it goes back to what Dyche demands of why he's a Premier League manager. That's what he does his career for. He's gone and done it against the best sides in the league. So, you know, what else could you really hope for other than the fact we don't like Jack Harrison alone? But I'll let you go with him.
Do I have to talk about Jack Harrison? Okay.
We'll save that for the end.
All right, we'll save it for a bit. I mean, yeah. Do you know what? Cannot argue with that result and that one against Arsenal as well. Feels like 2 0-0 wins. If you could have a 0-0 win, I think that feels like it, because I didn't expect anything from either game. You know, it's testament to the players and the manager that defensively we managed to turn it around like so well. You know, those clean sheets. You know, United was a bit of an aberration. It already feels like we've saved Amarim's career at Man United with that result. But if you take that out of the equation, probably if you take Wolves out as well, it was a bit of an anomaly the other way. It's really good defensively, and you know, to Dave's point, I actually don't mind displays like that. I don't mind seeing tight, compact defensive displays like that when you get the results. It's sound. The annoying thing is that there's nothing up front. I know. Like Matt said, we did have 2 good chances to win that game, and we are probably coming out of that disappointed that we had the 2 best chances in the match. But I think what Dyche has done well this season now, and he did it well last season as well, to be fair. Games that we would maybe have lost in the past, we're drawing. He can turn defeats into draws, and that's essentially what keeps you up. It's turning those draws into wins. That's what puts you in the European places. that's what we can't do. Like you said about Calvert-Lewin, if we got Denbigh close to him, things can happen there. But that front three don't play as a unit at all. Calvert-Lewin's isolated, but he himself has got to take some responsibility for that and say to Harrison or say to Denbigh, right, when this ball comes, you get next to me, get right by me. None of them seem to speak, and it seems like they're all operating in isolation, trying to make something themselves, and you're not going to get anywhere doing that. So that's the only frustration, but I'd take that result all day today. And like Matt said, we limited them, a free scoring team, limited them to very few chances really, although Pickford made a couple of good saves, which we expect. I expected them to be really sort of hammering at the door to score, and they weren't. I never really felt threatened all game, and you can't say that's for more than that for me.
Yeah, I think after half time, Matt, like they had two big chances, didn't they, before half time? Like Jackson misses a header from 2 yards out somehow against the post, and then Pickford made a good save before that. And you sort of at half time, you're waiting, you're looking at their team, looking at their bench, thinking the onslaught's going to come at some point here. And like in the second half, it never really did it? It felt like whenever we needed to like get 2 minutes up at their end and like get a corner or get like a bit of pressure, we managed to do it. And I think that was kind of crucial to us. Like, I mean, we had to see our pressure, don't get me wrong at times, but it never felt like we were being overwhelmed at any point. It felt like whenever we needed that little break, we managed to somehow get it through a free kick, through Dom getting hold of the ball, through a run from Decore, through Harrison getting down the right hand side, and that just kind of kept the pressure off us a little bit.
Yeah, in the second half, we had more shots and more expected goals. Like, they just didn't really turn out after half time. The first one you mentioned, their chance before half time, I was really confused by that. When that was right underneath me, it looked like our own player had sort of tackled it into Pickford, and he had to make a good stop.
Yeah, it was very strange. Like I think Jackson's got to score, hasn't he, initially? Because it's like it's a yard out and he heads it against the post. I think he sort of bottles it a little bit, but then Pickford kind of dives in a little bit after that. But yeah, it's a bit mad. But
and then second half, I think they had maybe a 10-minute spell of pressure when they targeted Ashley Young's position. But other than that, I mean, they did seem to focus on the wings most of the match. Shout out to Mikel, who I thought had his best game for a while there. Like, he didn't lose his head at all. Denbigh helped him out a lot and took a booking for it. He didn't let himself get doubled up. He's not been very good this season. I don't think it's controversial to say that, but that seemed to be Mikel back to somewhere about where he was last season. But yeah, in terms of Chelsea, it wasn't even like a backs to the wall defence for us, was it? Because it's not like Pickford was making save after save, or there wasn't many last-ditch tackles. We just kind of contained them in the midfield area and got in the faces, and towards the end they started to lose it a bit, didn't they? I mean, that disaster lad, he could have been shown about 3 yellow cards in 2 minutes there.
We got nothing off the ref, did we?
No,
the ref was terrible all day. We got nothing off him or the linesman, which always makes it an uphill battle when you're facing a team with that quality in it. But yeah, as I said, it was just a really good, solid performance, and that's what you build a team on. If we can add any sort of attacking prowess to that in January, I say if we should be sound. I think the time now though has definitely come to just sort of ease Calvert-Lewin out the team, basically, because if he's not going to sign a deal, we need to try and sell him in January, which is unlikely. But I think it's time to just ease him up. Just don't start him now, because he offered nothing there again today.
Brozier, did you say now?
Or better, whatever. I just don't think he's offering anything up front. Like I said to you, Dave, just then, it's on him to get the attack playing with him. And he's not doing that, and he's not really offering anything. One interesting thing today, just on the attack, our fullbacks haven't overlapped all season. Seamus Coleman came on.
It was very noticeable today.
Last 15 minutes, and he overlapped a couple of times. It was like the only time I've seen a fullback overlap all season. Whether that's just Coleman saying, I don't really care what the tactics are here, I'm going to play as I play at right back, and this is what I do. Or actually younger Mikel don't fancy overlapping, but it was dead noticeable that. And it makes such a difference to the attack. It gives the winger another option. You don't have to turn inside, so long may that continue. I'm going to say be quite fun. It'd be quite tight if Ashley Young sort of gets eased out just before the Peterborough game and Seamus Coleman plays at right back. That would be quite snide, wouldn't it?
Do you know what? You got to check about bets in the family and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I think the excellent point there that Les makes is about you sort of limit chances. Now you're giving to Calvert-Lewin. He's doing it all the time, isn't he? In regards to, he's just, I have sympathy with him at like large chunks of games, and then other times I'm thinking like, could anybody else do any worse? And I think we're at that point now. One thing I give Beto, obviously I think we've all come to the conclusion that he isn't for being like a top Premier League striker, and generally the feeling towards him is he'll come on the pitch and just put himself about a little bit. One thing he does when he holds it up though, he always looks for a pass to somebody else in and around him. He's always looking to give the ball to one of our players. That's more than what Calvert-Lewin's doing most of the time there, as me and Les have indicated there. Brozier as well remains to be seen, doesn't he? He couldn't play today obviously, but you go through this run of games that we've got there. Everton have gone and not lost in those games. I mean, that's a really positive step forward, I think, for us in general. The lack of goals conceded against us as well feels like it's frustrating not to win, if you get what I mean, in a really strange way, because I think we're the second lowest goal scorers in the league to Southampton. So like you're sort of predicting Everton don't score many goals in any game against any team, but when you put in a performance like that, defensive performance, if Everton can just nick one or two, obviously makes the entire difference of a season. You've secured safety by the time you get to February, and then things are starting to look a hell of a lot better. Just it's typical Dice, isn't it, to get not concede is right at the middle of what he wants to do. Going up the other end of the pitch will always be a concern with him as the manager, so it shows how limited he is. But against the teams you've got now, and you get draws, I'm all for it.
It felt like that United game was kind of like a final straw for him, in the sense of any kind of idea of playing expansive was over. Like, because that day we started McNeil as the number 10, didn't we? And then Diaz was left, and was it Lindstrom, I think, played right? Yeah. And it felt like after that game, which was abominably bad, like he went back to Decore, didn't he? Playing as the 10 against Wolves and short at the midfield. And I think it's bar McNeil's injury, it's been pretty much the exact same team since. And we haven't conceded a goal. And like it's mad that you can talk about a change at number 10 potentially making us more solid and not conceding goals, but like for what we are, Les, now, like, which is Dyche's Everton, and for what we're going to be for the short term at least, Decore there just seems to make us more. And I don't think he played well today by any means. Like, there was some good moments, but there was some such infuriating moments as well. But there's just something about that setup which just means that we just don't concede goals, and maybe that means we won't score many, but we might just be able to draw our way to safety.
Yeah, it is dead strange, isn't it? He's just a horrible player to watch for me, Decore. He's just so frustrating. There was one point where he was chasing down the keeper, and I've never seen anyone run so awkwardly. He's like the Isle of Man badge running. Like, it's just really odd. The thing with but it does, like you say, it does make us a more solid team, and I think that's got to be the priority. I totally agree that not conceding goals is the priority, and to be fair, like I said, the manager and the team they've nailed that. They really have. You can put it on the manager and the tactics that we're not creating many chances, but what is unforgivable, I swear we're going to go into Jack Harrison if you don't mind, is when we do get those chances, we're not scoring them, and that's not on the manager. When you create a gilt-edged opportunity like Jack Harrison had, and like Decore had at Arsenal last week, when you're creating chances like that, and it's happened earlier in the season, Calvert-Lewin missing one-on-ones, thing like that. None of that's on the manager, but these players cannot miss those chances. When you're playing a game of football where you're not going to see much possession, you're not going to create many chances. When those chances do come, you've got to score them.
But does the fact that we don't create many ramp up the pressure in those moments?
Well, percentage-wise, yeah, it does. It really does. But I think when they're that gilt-edged, for Decore not to get his shot off last week before Gabriel got the tackle in, unforgivable. To Jack Harrison not to score today, unforgivable. The two against Wolves as well, to not even hit the target. When those chances come, as a professional footballer, this is all you do all week. That's the sort of pressure you want. For Harrison today, if you're a left-footed winger playing on the right, that's the perfect chance to you. It falls perfectly to you. Open your body, score. And he didn't. And that's basically the downfall of this team now. When we are creating chances, we're not scoring them. And it's dead frustrating. And then that in turn puts more pressure on the defence, because they know for 90, 95 minutes, whatever, they have got to be fully on it. And they haven't got any room for making a mistake. Because if we concede, we're probably screwed. And that's the frustrating thing for me. And we give Dyche a lot of shit this season, but things like that, they're just not on him. The fact that we don't create many chances probably is, but you can't have players missing chances like that.
What did he do wrong with that chance then, apart from not score, Matt? we've seen a still of it, and I think they always make it look worse than it is. But there are lots of options for him to do, which he doesn't take ultimately.
Yeah, I don't blame him for taking it himself. Like, you can argue the toss and say he should have cut it back for Decore to tap it in, but he decided to take it himself. He's not lifted it. The goalie's done very well, to be fair to him. Like, he basically sat himself down and spread his legs as wide as he can, and he's gambled the right way. But yeah, it just racks up, doesn't it? Like, this is what, 4 games now for Harrison that he should have scored.
Like, in 10 minutes.
We had the other one as well where the goalies sort of saved it, and it's fell perfectly for someone to just run on and tap it in. And I don't know if it hits better or what, but Jesus Christ.
Dave, you said it hits. Chelsea player blocks it, doesn't he, initially, and then and then it hits better.
But it seemed to like just set up there, and it seemed to be sat there for about 10 minutes waiting for someone to hit it.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, please, one ears. Like, Beto is stood over it, but with his back to goal, he's like, where's the ball? Like, just kick backwards like a horse, lad. Just gamble. Maybe we need to get some mirrors set up around him so he can like.
The Triore finish.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. It doesn't matter how pretty a goal is as long as it goes in. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to be sat here, quibbling about missing Gilted's chances against Chelsea of all teams. God help us if we do the same thing against Man City, because that's a team there for the taking, isn't it? Like,
sat here saying goes the Etihad and win.
Everyone else does.
Yeah, just on that, right? Normally, I'd say right now we're probably the perfect opponents for Manchester City to play. I actually go there, dare to say, with a bit of confidence how we defended those 2 games against Chelsea and Arsenal. Might as well finish the pod now.
What was your point?
Sorry.
What was your point? Sorry.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, so going to Manchester City. I mean, I'm probably looking for a better word than confident when you go there, because they can still rip you apart, and let's face it, they're probably likely going to do so, because you can see it against them. For the time when Tamari Gray scored that absolute wonder goal, we very rarely do anything when we go there since Lukaku days. You go there and play like we did today, and I do think you've got a chance. Albeit you've got to step up in an attacking force that you're going to have to try and defend against. But I feel more content, probably the better word, and comfortable with the way in which we've played. It makes me feel like we're in a position where we're not looking over our shoulders as such yet, even though, like you've seen, like I said, Wolves have gone and won 4-0 today, and there's loads of other sides down here. I feel Everton are in suitable enough sides not to be involved in a fight for going down, and I hope that's not like pure fate that I've absolutely cursed there. But and I don't say it often, credit to Sean Dyche for setting us up that way. And he's probably, I'd like to think that he's first in the changes after that, straight up to Jack Harrison saying, what the fuck have you just been? No, he should be. No, the reason why he should be is because he puts games out to have those 1 or 2 chances where you've got to go and win them. Otherwise, you're not playing as defensively compact as we were. You're having those 1 or 2 chances, like let's say they are Gilted's chances. You take them, you win games. If I'm Sean Dyche there, I'd be like, have you missed that? How have you missed that? Because he shouldn't have missed it.
I think he should be privately fuming, but you don't dig someone else after he's ran his bollocks off all game.
I'm not talking about saying, listen lads, you can all get in the showers. I'm just about to tell him to put his coat on and go home. I'm not saying that. I mean it more in the sort of subtle way that you referred to there. But do you not think you'd do that if you're a manager and say, maybe not go up and say you're shit, but go up and say, Jack, 3 points that if you'd have scored there, mate. What's going on?
I think I'd be a bit more tactful and just do extra shooting practice or something. I think I'd do it that way. I think things like that, though, I think that's probably on the players. It's usually the players that will dig other players out a bit like that. When you're on the pitch as well, because that's the time when he's let the team down. Really, I know it seems harsh because he's just missed the chance to score, and loads of players do it. But like you're saying, when chances are that limited, you are kind of letting the team down, and that's where the rest of the team, like, fucking hell, you should be burying that, mate.
It infuriates. Sorry, I was just going to say, it must infuriate a manager like Sean Dyche because he sets up just for those little moments, you know what I mean? The odd time Everton are able to do so, minimal amounts of possession in games, you get that golden opportunity. A pretty easy one, let's be fair. Like, he should have finished that. It reminds me, reminded me of when Nunes missed almost exactly that same chance against us because he blasted straight to Pickford in the 2-0 win over them. It was exactly like that. And you've got somebody who meant to have signed with a bit of finesse when he does something like that. I mean, I know you can say, well, how often is he in that position? But yeah, it's unacceptable.
I mean, ultimately though, it's a sort of, it's just where we are, isn't it? We need better players. We know we need better players, and you know, if we were better, he just wouldn't get in the team. So
I hope that Sean Dyche has gone to said that too.
Yeah. Well,
listen, lads, going back to Championship.
The thing is, his replacement Lindstrom, he may well have missed the same chance because he's, you know,
I thought he was good when he came on today.
He was, but he's missed a lot of chances this season himself. So you know, it comes down to a lot of the players. They're pretty adept at missing good chances, which doesn't do us any good. But you know, to look at the positives, those defensive displays, they are brilliant, and I do buzz off defensive displays like that.
Well, Tarkowski was probably his best game of the season today.
Yeah, it felt like he was back to it. Yeah, definitely.
Still did his customary stupid foul on the edge of the box though.
I think I don't think it was like stupid. I think it was just like we got a bit desperate and out of shape, and he had to kind of dive in. Like I think he got the balance.
Dive in like head first. He wasn't even going for the ball. He sort of threw himself at the back of the player and then held his own face.
I think he got the balance right between being just like sensible and really trying to be the hard man quite well. Like that Jackson tried to rough him up a few times. He gave it a bit back, but yeah, I thought he's quite good today. So yeah, bring on City on Boxing Day. Are we saying then?
Yeah, Haaland turns into a world beater again, obviously. No, do you know what? If we can't go into this game with a bit of relative confidence, we never can go into this game with some confidence. You know, their run has got to come to an end sometime. I thought it would have done by now. I thought they would have won more games by now. I didn't think it'd get to Boxing Day against us, and they still need that win. But there's no reason why we can't do that. Just frustrate the life out of them, and maybe if we do get one or two chances, we'll net one. You just never know. I think we've got to go there with some confidence.
I mean, I just wish we had one player with pace. Yeah. Because I feel like we could really, really cause them problems then. Like, you watch teams, like the way in which they play against them and like the counter-attack. We just haven't got that outlet really, but yeah, we will see anyway. We will wrap it up there anyway. A bit shorter than usual, but it was 0-0.
0-0, we just talked it up as the best performance of the season.
It wasn't the best good performance though.
I think we were good. Like, you know, sometimes you have 0-0s. Like, what's the podcast you guys did after Brentford, which was half an hour, and you had to get half an hour.
Do you know what the big difference for me was? This felt like a much better 0-0 than Arsenal. I know Arsenal was like.
We were competitive in the game, weren't we?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think last week against Arsenal, we just weren't competitive at all. We were just holding on from the first minute. Today, we felt like we were in the game. We felt like Chelsea knew they were in the game, although we didn't make many chances. If we draw 0-0, that's the sort of display I want to see. That we're active in the game. We've got a chance in the game right up. You know, not just clinging on all game. So yeah, I enjoyed that today.
There were spells in the second half where when we were getting corners and putting them under pressure and we were winning the ball back, it felt like a proper Goodison game against Chelsea where we just score and we nick a goal and we'd end up winning and obviously we had the chance, but we didn't get the goal, but it felt I felt engaged in the game today for the first time in a while at Goodison certainly. But listen, it's a good point ultimately. We'll wrap it up there. Everton 0, Chelsea 0. The Blues are going to 0-0 their way to safety in the Premier League. All Dave's Arsenal, it's the Reds. He's not
hang on, we might well have just won them the league today by getting a 0-0 draw against Chelsea. We're already safe.
We've given them 4 points in a week.
Couldn't care less, but yeah, we'll wrap it up.
Saying that because they're going to piss it.
We'll wrap it up there. We'll have a couple of more pods for Christmas Day anyway, and then it's got the Royal Rumble, Mailbag Royal Rumble. So yeah, there'll be a few bits and pieces coming out in the next few days. We'll play Manchester City on Boxing Day. Cheers to Matt, Dave, and Les. That has been your instant reaction to Everton 0, Chelsea 0. Up the Toffees. We'll catch you again soon.